I call to order this regular session of the Vienna City Council. Having taken a roll and having a quorum, we will proceed. The first item on our agenda this evening is our public forum. We have one individual that has signed up to speak, and that is Rob Faust.
Hello, I'm Rob Faust, 4200 Grand Central Avenue. I also own a piece of property at 4106 Grand Central Avenue. I'm here to talk about that property tonight. When the gas company went through and put the gas lines in, many of you know they dug a big ditch all the way down Grand Central, and they put these metal plates over it and they left them for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. Well, trucks and everything went down Grand Central, and what happened was the dirt fell in the ditch. Where did that dirt come from? It came from underneath our sidewalks. So whether you realize it or not, all the sidewalks in Vienna now have a pitch toward the street. But in one particular area, at my property at 4106, I now have the satisfaction of having the only step up and down Grand Central Avenue. I have a 5-inch step in the sidewalk, which, does this work? Yep. I don't know if you can see it. You can see right there. And there's another view. Notice the retaining wall in the back where it has also got the same dip in it. Now obviously when I built that retaining wall, I didn't put a dip in it. It was straight. But because the dirt washed out from under it and washed out from under the sidewalk, now the retaining wall is crooked. And you can see, there's a tape measure, it's a 5-inch step. So, the last mayor looked at it. Chad was gracious enough to come up and look at it. Everybody's looked at it. Something needs to be done because somebody's going to get hurt. Now, I don't know if it can be ground off. I noticed the city's done a beautiful job of painting yellow around the city. Maybe we ought to put a yellow stripe around it. But there is seriously a 5-inch step at 4106 Grand Central in the sidewalk, and somebody's going to get hurt, and I wanted it on the record that everybody knew about it. And it's still washing out every time it rains. There's a pile of dirt beside the sidewalk every time it rains. So as Chad and I have talked, if you stand anywhere in Vienna and look up and down the sidewalks, they're all tilted in toward Grand Central Avenue now. And the workers told me that when they put that pipe in the ditch, they had to get in the ditch and shovel all the dirt out of the ditch that had caved in. You know, we have sandy soil in Vienna. You dig a hole in Vienna, you get down a foot, it starts caving in. So imagine what happened when they dug those trenches all the way up and down Grand Central, put those metal plates over them, and then the 18-wheeler started up and down Grand Central. All those ditches filled in. So underneath our road and underneath our sidewalk, you're going to have problems for years to come. But I got a big problem, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody can provide some help as to what we might be able to do with it. Now, I'm happy to send these pictures to anybody that wants it, or just stop on your way home, take a look. It's right there. All right, that's all I got.
I will get Public Works to mark that, and put up a safety or a cone, or at least paint an alert across that, just to bring attention to that. I'll have that addressed tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I have a question. Russ,
Yes.
does the city have the right to bring a claim against the people that put the pipe in there and make them fix it?
I mean, they could. I suppose they could. Generally, though, the sidewalks have been the responsibility of the homeowners that are adjacent.
Right, but I mean,
I mean, it's possible the homeowner could do the same thing as well, because they are, you know, they're damaged just the same as the city is.
Yeah, but I didn't do anything.
No, the homeowner, the property owner is damaged the same way that the city would be.
what he's saying is that the property owner is responsible for the sidewalks, and since you got stuck with it and they damaged your sidewalk, you could go to magistrate court and sue the company that put the pipe in there. And if you do that, they aren't going to want to pay an attorney because they have to appear by an attorney, and they probably fix it.
I shouldn't have to, though, really.
Right, I understand, but
Yeah.
but what Russ was pointing out is the
Yeah.
homeowners are responsible for the sidewalks, and so all the homeowners would have to bring their claims.
So understand, in the next several years, you're gonna see more of this kind of stuff, because I saw the inside of those ditches.
And this is obviously a lengthy conversation we can have, and we will, we obviously have intents on addressing infrastructure issues throughout the city, sidewalks being one that I'm currently active with both state and local agencies to be able to address. And we'll work towards that goal of providing safe modes of transportation for walkers, bikers, and all other travelers in the same.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah. And maybe it goes mentioning, I believe we still have the program where we share, if I remember correctly, we passed the program where we share, I don't want to say responsibility, but if the homeowner buys the materials, they can do an application with the street department or maybe through the utility board. But they will come in and do the labor. So you do the cost, they do the labor, and or you buy the materials and they'll put the sidewalk in.
Yeah, it still exists.
Yeah.
Russ was talking about it with me, the homeowner buys the materials and they come in and put the stuff.
Yeah.
All right, moving on with the agenda. The minutes from the regular council meeting on July 24th, 2025 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Tammy did mention there was one correction. I went ahead and corrected that, so it reflected in the minute book.
Report, or a finance report from the treasurer. Councilman Session.
Reviewed the reconciliation of funds dated August 8th, 2025, and a short budget report, high level, and compared them to the previous month. The accounts are in order, and the city of Vienna is financially sound to pay its bills. The other item is, while I'm talking about the finance stuff, is, did you see anything yet from Amy with regards to the city's outlay of funds for the Freedom Festival?
Yes, department heads have been turning in their, what really amounts to the overtime that city employees would have had. There were a couple other things that she was collecting. I just actually spoke with her yesterday about that. She was on vacation today, so I am sure that we'll see something next week in regards to all those numbers.
Okay, so at our budget and finance meeting then on September 9th, we should be able to review that, right?
I would assume so, yes.
Thanks.
Are there any questions about the treasurer's report? There is no unfinished business at hand. Moving on to new business. The first item on our agenda is the West Virginia 23 West Vienna Kayak Launch Project. Mr. Skogstad, would you like to address any of that?
We just have two resolutions in 3 and 4 that are coming up to, or I'm sorry, not 3 and 4. Resolution 3 to adopt the funding for the Vienna Kayak Launch Project, construction and design. But you know, I mean, unless you all have questions, I have about the agreements themselves. I don't have anything to add to it.
This is our agreement that between us and the state saying, yes, they are doing their 80% match, we are matching with our 20%. On this project, in that we are going to move forward and actually complete this project. This was it was brought to our attention later into the process, which we were not aware of, and the state themselves even acknowledged that they should have brought it much sooner rather than later. But now we have it. We've got it adjusted to where it meets all of the needs for both the state and the city, and you see what has been presented in support documentation. Well, before we have I need a motion to accept. You make a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Now that we've had a motion and a second, open for discussion.
Yeah, from when we talked initially at the budget and finance meeting last week, the good news is the total cost came down. I mean, it was initially, the total was going to be $350,000. It's now $329,400. The city was initially going to do $70,000 out of our funds in the budget, and it's now down to what you see as 65,800. And then the state amount dropped from the 280,000 down to 263,520. So you must have fine tweaked all the stuff that you were talking about. We were waiting on the final numbers.
Absolutely. Any other discussion?
I just have a question.
Okay.
Originally in online, it says that the award for the black grant to Vienna was fiscal year 2021. This says fiscal year, whatever, 22 flat funds. I just want to make sure that that's not a discrepancy.
Now, my understanding is the funds are available. That's just something, like those agreements have been sitting around for a while,
Yeah.
waiting for the expenditure of the funds. Now, in principle, the agreements are the same. There are gonna be a couple of things that we're gonna have to go through and just, correct, like the dates to make sure that they're accurate, but,
Okay.
everything else is
Okay.
fine.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Having none, reviewing the documents that you have before you, and having a motion and a second, all those in favor of accepting the resolution for the kayak launch project, signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 2 is the 2025-2026 general fund budget revision number 1. Mr. Sassen.
What we're gonna do there is, for the kayak launch for the city's portion, that was the 65,880. We're gonna move $75,000 from transfer from capital reserve to put that into capital outlay, buildings and grounds. And that extra $5,000 is our contingency just in case something happens.
Because this hasn't gone out to bid
It's
yet.
gotta be big.
So these are numbers based on the projected cost from our engineer. They could fluctuate one way or the other, hopefully to the latter. But if not, we wanted to be able to accommodate and take care of those.
Well, just so everyone's clear, the city, the flat grant itself is for a total $280,000. The city for the design portion is going to be responsible for 20% of about $4,120. And for the overall project completion is $65,880. But the agreements, but I want to make sure the council understands that the agreements that we execute have a provision in them that say if the project is in excess of the total flat grant amount, we would be responsible for that, whatever that amount is in excess, 100%. They're not going to match us another 80-20. So if you go 10,000 over, you're looking at the city's going to be responsible for that full 10,000.
Do I have a motion to accept general fund budget revision number 1?
So,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Having none, all in favor of accepting the general fund budget revision number 1, signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. You're okay. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, and it is a resolution adopting and approving and authorizing the execution of agreements and expenditures for the kayak launch. Mr. Skogstad.
Let me just get down here to it. Page 61. That's what I thought. This is a resolution adopting, approving, and authorizing the execution of agreements and the expenditure of funds for the design and construction of the Vienna kayak launch project, and committing local match funds in the amount of $4,120 and $65,880. Whereas the city of Vienna seeks to improve public access to the Ohio River by developing a kayak launch and associated infrastructure, including ADA compliant facilities and parking. Whereas the city has applied for and been awarded federal assistance under the Federal Lands Access Program FLAP for both the design and construction phases of the Vienna kayak project or launch project. And whereas the design agreement requires a local match in the amount of, and that I thought I changed that number, $4,120, and the construction agreement requires a local match in the amount of $65,880. And I'll point out, I thought I had changed the number in that to be $4,120, and that's what you're voting on. Whereas the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Division of Highways, the department has provided the city with formal agreements governing the scope of work, funding participation, and compliance obligations for both phases of the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna, one, that the City of Vienna does hereby approve and adopt the design agreement and the construction agreement with the Department for the Vienna Kayak Launch Project. Two, that the mayor or his designee is hereby authorized to execute both agreements and any related documents on behalf of the city. Three, that the city hereby commits to provide the required local match funds in the amount of A, $4,120 for the design phase, and B, $65,880 for the construction phase. Four, that the finance director is directed to allocate and make available said funds from the appropriate accounts. Five, that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
And I'll correct that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I knew I'd done it, I just didn't do it in both places. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's on here too, so it's on our agenda thing, it's the right numbers.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to accept the resolution as written?
First.
Second? I have a first and second. Open for any discussion. Having no discussion, having a first and a second, all those in favor of accepting the resolution as read, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Very good.
I will be hand delivering this to the state, unless Harry, if you want to do it tomorrow while you're going to work. We'll talk about that after. And that way we can get started on this project, which is a good thing for Vienna. Moving on to the next item on our agenda is a resolution for the 2019-2020 Community Development Block Grant COVID-19 grant application to authorize an amount up to $51,736.62 for an emergency generator system to be installed at the Vienna Senior Center. Mr. Skolkstein.
But this is a resolution to authorize a revision to the City of Vienna's 2019-2020 Community Development Block Grant COVID-19 grant application to include funding for an emergency generator for the Vienna Senior Citizen Center. Be it resolved by the city, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the following grant is hereby approved for inclusion in the city's 2019-2020 Community Development Block Grant CDBG COVID-19 grant application. One, an emergency generator at the Vienna Senior Citizen Center in the amount of $51,736.62. The funds required for this project shall be transferred from the Small Business Relief Fund and the Family Relief Fund programs. On adoption of this resolution, this revision will be applicable to the City of Vienna's 2019-2020 Annual Action Plan for its Community Development Block Grant Program, and shall also amend the city's 2017-2021 5-year consolidated plan accordingly. Do I have all those dates correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Having heard the resolution, do I have a motion to accept as read?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Having a motion and a second, now open for discussion. And Tony, I'm sure there are questions, if you'd like to come to the podium, that way you can be there to answer. Mr. Sassen.
I got a couple comments that maybe it'll help clear some stuff out too. The amount that's there is the balance of what has not been spent from COVID, from what Amy was explaining to us. And those are funds that we either use them or lose them, and it's by October of 2026, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so everyone knows that then.
When I first started to talk to our finance director and look at this, we were trying to figure out legitimate ways that would be justified, would be a use to our community, it would be an overall good use. Through those conversations, the senior center does not have an emergency backup system when it comes to electricity. So if we have seniors are over there every day and even into the night for regular activities, whether it be for exercising or for their classes or for whatever it may be, they're over there all day, every week. If power were to go down, that would be a very tricky situation, especially at night. And we also use that facility for our seniors in our community as a relief center for whether it be a cooling station, a warming station. If something catastrophic were to happen in our community, The city building has an emergency backup system, the police station has one, and the fire station has one. The senior center is unique in its way because of the facilities in which it provides and the services that they provide. I believe very strongly that this is a excellent use of these funds, will provide for our community, and look forward to seeing this complete. Yes.
I also would point out that the senior center, because of its design, has that large gymnasium. We've had a handful of issues over the 20 years that I've been living here, not with the gymnasium, but just natural disasters and so forth. And that is a very good place because of the gymnasium. If you had to do something, an emergency that you had to address that wasn't just for the seniors, that you would have a place that you could accommodate a large number of people. They would be able to get power. And it certainly, I think, would help with fulfilling our, I don't know if it's necessarily obligations, but would help in any emergency situation that we would have. That building could be used to accommodate a number of just non-senior citizens. So legally, I think it's a great idea.
Tony, would you like to address anything or make any comments on?
Well, the only thing I'd like to add is that technically these are community development block grant funds that then we receive the additional $119,876 that was to be related to COVID-related activities. And as mentioned, we had the small business relief program, we had the family relief program, which they were successful. However, we do have a balance of the $51,736.62 in funds. Over the past couple of years, the city did try to come up with projects. Nothing worked. So we're now at the stage we have a project. As Councilman said, if we don't spend it by next October, the city will lose the money.
Thank you. Mr. Sass, did you have something else to add?
I just got a comment. I can't remember when we were in the senior center. Do they have a defibrillator on the wall?
They have an AED.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you like the sound effect that went on? It's I've watched enough movies to hear clear, and you go with it. It's it. Having a motion and a second, is there any other discussion on this item? Having none, all those in favor of approving the resolution as what? Raise your right. You're getting ahead of me.
I'm sorry.
If you want to do this, raise your right hand. Here you go. All right.
My stomach was speaking.
That's it. Motion passes unanimously. You guys are funny this evening. All right, moving on to item number 5. This is the resolution for the inclusion of the windows and door replacement program. Tony, you might as well
I'll just stand here,
stay there, Mr. Skogstad, if you would.
This is a resolution authorizing the inclusion of windows and door replacement of the windows and doors replacement program, minor home improvement program, and for planning administration. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the following projects be included in the 2025-2026 Community Development Block Grant CDBG application. 1. Housing, energy efficient windows and door replacement program, $38,316. 2. Housing, minor home improvement program, HVAC roof gutters, downspouts, hot water tank, $38,316. 3. Planning administration, $18,000. Upon adoption of this resolution, the City Council of the City of Vienna hereby adopts the attached annual action plan for the 2025-2026 program year and authorizes its submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Pittsburgh office.
Having heard the resolution as written, do I have a motion to accept? I have a motion and a second. I have a motion and a second. It is open for discussion. Mr. Sasson.
Now, from what Amy was saying to us about this, it's for minor home improvements, windows and doors, and it's for low income, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And applications are taken on a first come, first served basis. And right now, the city does have a small waiting list of people wanting, because we're out of funds, and they do have a waiting list of people wanting these programs.
How do people apply for this? Would you mind just explaining that real quick?
All they need to do is call the building department and talk to Sean, and she'll have them fill out an application. There's certain information they need to provide to us, such as documentation of their income, proof of their house, that they own it, and then the information is reviewed, and if they are eligible, they're put on the list, and as soon as we get funds, then we would move to them on the list.
Thanks.
Is there any other discussion? Having a motion and a second, and there's no other discussion, all those in favor of accepting the resolution as read signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
No problem.
Moving on with our agenda, item number 6 is a resolution accepting the placement of a bench at Jackson Park in honor of Darrell Dodson, Ralph Hayden, Ed Spader, and Gaylord Youngheim. Did I say that
That's
right?
what I was going with.
Youngheim? Did I say that right? Barb, do you know?
I think you did.
Did I say that right? Yes. You.
This is a resolution accepting the placement of a bench in Jackson Park honoring Darrell Dodson, Ralph Hayden, Ed Spader, and Gaylord Youngheim. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna, whereas the City of Vienna recognizes the importance of commemorating the contributions of its citizens who have dedicated themselves to community enrichment and public recreation, and whereas Bruce Spader, a former Vienna resident now residing in Cary, North Carolina, has proposed to donate a commemorative bench to be placed in Jackson Park in tribute to the individuals who initiated and developed the city's recreation programs and facilities during the 1950s, and whereas the proposed bench would bear the inscription, "With gratitude to those visionaries who initiated recreation programs and facilities in Vienna in the 1950s, Darrell Dodson, Ralph Hayden, Ed Spader, and Gaylord Youngheim," and will be constructed of a durable, high-impact recycled material with corrosion-free fasteners to be delivered fully paid and ready for assembly, including ground anchoring hardware, and whereas the donors Bruce Spader and John Youngheim will cover all material and shipping costs and request the city's assistance only with identifying a suitable location and installation within Jackson Park. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Vienna hereby approves the acceptance and installation of the commemorative bench in Jackson Park in honor of the individuals named above, and be it further resolved that the mayor and appropriate city staff are authorized to coordinate with the donors to determine an appropriate site within Jackson Park and oversee installation.
Having heard the resolution as read, do I have a motion to accept?
Moved.
I have a motion and a second. Open for discussion.
I'll just say a little bit. We received an email about this, and it kind of touched me. Thinking about back in the 1950s, this ragtag group of guys got together and started what we know now as the VRIA, and they were just grinders, making something happen, and they were responsible for getting a lot of the fields developed, and a lot of the sports that we play now started back whenever this group of people that's going to be honored on this bench, they're the ones responsible for it. So anyways, I thought it was really cool. I'd love to sit on the bench with some of these guys and just kind of hear some of their stories. It'd be really cool to.
Back in the day.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this. I think it's a great way to honor the people who kind of kicked things off for us back in 1950s.
I don't remember, was there a suggestion on the plate where they specifically wanted it placed, or was that to the discretion of the?
You mean as far as the placement of the plate on the bench?
No, the placement of the bench.
Oh, they just were working with the city to find a nice place for it.
Oh. Any other discussion? Having none, all those in favor of accepting the resolution as read, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the last agenda item is to inform and direct the finance director and the city attorney regarding the selection of an online auction service or the issuance of a request for proposals for an in-person auctioneer. Mr. Skogstad.
I just covered myself up. There. This is a resolution to inform and direct the finance director and the city attorney regarding the selection of an online auction service or the issuance of a request for proposals for an in-person auctioneer. Be Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the Finance Director and the City Attorney are hereby directed to proceed with one of the following options for the disposition of city personal property. 1, engage an online auction service platform, or 2, issue a request for proposals for the selection of an in-person auctioneer. The chosen method shall be consistent with applicable procurement laws and in the best interest of the city.
Having heard the resolution as read, do I have a motion to accept? I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Open for discussion. Having no discussion?
Well, just
That was a long pause there, mister.
I'm trying to figure out. My question is this is basically, we just explained a little bit.
Yeah, you just have, well, what we're asking, what the Finance Director and I are asking is, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want us to continue with like Gov Deals and online auction service? We've already approved Gov Deals. Or do you want us to send out a request for professional services to engage an auctioneer? The city has, under West Virginia Code, the city has the option of going with an online program if it prepares the exhibits itself. So we don't need an intermediary or an auctioneer. If the city's using online services, preparing the items for exhibit and sale itself, the city should compare at least 3 online sellers, which we have done in the past, to determine which one is the most economical, or which one has the best, offers the best benefit to the city, has the lowest fees, so on and so forth. To have an auction, if the city were to go with just a regular auctioneer, they would have to do a request for professional services. You have to have a licensed certified auctioneer. That person would then prepare the exhibits and so forth for the auction itself. The city would have to approve the sale of the items and approve the online, or approve the items and the location where they're going to be sold, and description, and so on and so forth. All we're asking, or all I've asked, is which one do you want to do? Do you want to continue with the program like we have now, or do you want to send out a request for professional services for an auctioneer and then go through that process?
Isn't this resolution authorizing you and our finance director to make that determination?
No. This is asking you guys to tell us what you want. Well, and the only thing I will say is that we've already picked one in the past, Gov Deals, which would still be in effect. But the last time this came up, we had a list of items to sell. There were some questions about whether or not the city wanted to continue down that path. And so we were hoping that you folks would give us an idea of what you want to do.
So, hear me out on this. The way I read this is that by passing this, we give the finance director and the city attorney the authority or the ability to make that. That's the way this is written.
If that's what you guys want to do, that's fine. If you want the city attorney and the finance director to pick the method, we can do that under this resolution.
So that's how this is written.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I understand that.
So that's how this is. This isn't us taking separate votes on one or the other. If we want to do that, then we need to.
Then we can do it different. If you are not comfortable
table
doing
this and move it to the next.
So basically, here's where you're at. If you want to do it and let the city attorney and the finance director decide the method, then you can pass this motion as it is. If you want to decide which method that you want to use, then we can make a motion to table this, and I can prepare 2 resolutions, and you guys can tell me what you want.
Am I understanding that?
Can you use your microphone, please? There you go.
Is that better? Am I understanding that this would be, the way I looked at it, you could do it either way as to various sales. In other words, if something was better for online, you would do online. If you felt it was better locally with a live auctioneer, you could do that. So I thought this resolution was saying you could do whatever is best in each instance.
That is exactly what it's saying.
Okay.
And you can do that because ultimately, we have to bring a prepared list of items to be sold, right? The council always has to approve that. So at that point, council can tell us if we haven't made a decision, or if finance director hasn't made a decision I guess, satisfactory, then you just tell us then how you want us to proceed, when the list of items comes up.
This resolution gives us the flexibility to identify what might be better sold online or what might be better sold with an in-person auctioneer. It then also gives us the availability that if someone brings, if we bring it and council goes, no, we don't want to do this online, we would rather do this in an in-person auctioneer, then we're able to do that.
Is it possible for someone out here to add clarity?
I'm sorry, no.
Because that's not the valid choice.
I understand, but this is not the setting in which to do that. If you'd like to speak to that again, I welcome you to the public forum.
Going back, this came up when a gentleman had a presentation, and if I'm not mistaken, the outfit that was doing this was out of Georgia, right? For the state.
Gov.deals?
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
And then we were like, do we want to do that, or do we want to see if we can get someone local to do it?
So that's why it was drafted in this fashion, so that if we had items, we can put them out. Because you'd have to do a request for service on those things, because we're not awarding a contract. It would be a request for service. They would submit and say, I'm the auctioneer. This is how we would have to do it. According to the city, this is how we would have to do it, because it would be incurring services to the city. So that's what we have. We can either table this, or we can move on with this. Go ahead.
Before we make any motions, I'm remembering these conversations, and when this came up last time for the approval of Gov Deals, I think it was Mr. Faust that presented and spoke about, at the time we had put it out for bid to try and get some local people. The reason that the Gov Deals was selected because of there wasn't really a strict adherence to any guidelines as far as where the fees and stuff were going to be. So where Gov Deals was charging the fees directly to the buyer, and a couple of the other bidders that had put in were charging the fees to the seller, which was the city, obviously. And I remember Mr. Faust specifically addressing that and saying that he would be able to pass those fees on to the buyers, just like Gov Deals was. So then the question became, well, why not work with local people as opposed to some online company out of another state? Why not work with, as a city, work with someone local? And I think that's kind of where we landed. And I know it's been a while since we talked about this. So I think if we're going to pass on, and I believe, Mr. Skogsad and Ms. Roberts would take this and do a great job with it. I would also like to have an input and say, hey, if we have an opportunity to deal with local people and give them those parameters and say, hey, look, we want to be like these other online agencies that passes the fees and stuff on to the buyers as opposed to us incurring those fees. I believe we could get several local competitive bids as auctioneers, and then allow them to sell the 50 vehicles or whatever we got over there in the 60th Street.
Okay, are you finished?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to clarify, from my understanding, is that we already have a resolution in place to use Gov Deals to do our auction stuff. It costs the city $0. And over the years, we've collected hundreds of thousands of dollars, from my understanding. What this does is allowing us to broaden that policy, so to speak, or that resolution, to include local companies or anybody who wants to bid. If Russ or the finance director decides to say, I want to take this item and let's see if we can use this locally. Is that correct?
Yes, I do want to clarify one thing. I'm not deciding anything. All I'm doing is making sure that whatever path we choose is the correct path. Okay. So just so we're all clear, because I know I have a new council and you guys weren't here to deal with this. Under West Virginia Code 812 18B, to sell any of the city's real or personal property by using an internet-based public auction service. But before making any sale, the notice of the time, terms, and place of sale, together with a brief description of the property to be sold, shall be published as a Class 2 legal advertisement in compliance with the provisions of West Virginia Code 5931 and so forth. Of this code, the publication area for the publication shall be the municipality. And if you keep going through that, here's where the bottom line is. If the city wants to take pictures and wants to do the auction, and they take pictures and they do the listing, the city can act as for itself as the auctioneer for the different items. If the city thinks that it's more valuable, or the items can get more, I guess there was more value to the items being auctioned, the city then has to go with an auctioneer. If you're going to do a live auction with people, and the city is not preparing the exhibits, not taking the photographs, not preparing the listing, you have to go with an auctioneer. And if you go with an auctioneer, you have to do a request for professional services. Because under our ordinance, auctioneers are not something that is specifically exempt. So there's a statutory requirement that governs both of these. The city is allowed to auction goods. If the city is going to do it itself, it can do it online and it can hold the auction, I suppose, itself. But if the city is going to use somebody else to prepare the items to actually conduct the auction, then it has to go with an auctioneer. I want you all to understand, I don't care like which path you pick. I think it would be great if we went with a live auction, if that was the thing that was most likely to get the city the most value for the items that it's selling, because I think that's ultimately our responsibility. I don't care if we continue to do the way that we do it online now. All I want to know is, what do you guys want us to do? So this resolution is set up so that the finance director, with my assistance, can say, this is the list of items that you all ultimately have to approve anyway, that we are proposing to sell. So at the time that we prepare that listing, you can tell us, do you want us to do it online, or do you want us to do a request for professional services? The only reason, one of the main reasons this is on the agenda tonight is to push this forward, because we have a bunch of stuff that needs to be gotten rid of.
Bunch of stuff.
And we can't just keep, walking around this issue. We need to decide. I'm not the decider. I'm just the guy that's holding the flashlight. You're the dads that are turning the wrenches.
I just have a comment. This allows us to do one or the other.
Yes.
Based on the situation. I don't think there's anything that is wrong with that. I think that's the best way to go. It gives us more options for each individual situation. The other thing I have is when Mr. Faust was at Public Forum the last time, he talked about the fact that yes, he's a licensed auctioneer in the state of West Virginia, but so many auctioneers now have an online presence, so hiring someone to do a live auction doesn't take away the online platform. So I don't know how that needs to be worded, but say like if you bid on something and he won, we did an RFQ, if his qualifications and everything were top choice, we don't want to limit him to just being able to do a live in-person auction when he has an online auction platform. And I just want to make sure that that's clarified, that it's not just in person or online.
Right. The difference between the two of those things would be however way you decided to do it, if we hired, auctioneer X or B or whatever, we would say, here are the items. They're sitting in a field. They're in the storage buildings. Here are the items. You go do everything that needs to be done, then bring us back a check in essence. If we go with the gov.deals are similar, the city is the ones that take the pictures, upload them, write the descriptions, and do all of those various things. So that would be the bigger difference. Now, if the local auctioneer decided to place those items on, online as well, that would be up to how they submitted and how we approved their request for services.
Okay.
So it wouldn't limit them, it would be just a decision really on if we're just gonna turn it over to local auctioneer or we're going to do it ourselves.
So when we bring the list of items to you, you just tell us, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to do it, or do you want the city to do it itself? Or do you want us to issue a request for professional services and interview auctioneers to sell the items? Like I said, I don't care, I just want to get this moving because I know that we have stuff that needs to be disposed of.
A lot. Look, Mr. Faust, I'm going to do you this courtesy. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to say whatever you want to say.
Great.
You're running to the podium.
All right.
I don't want to discount you, but I have to keep.
No,
I have to
I
keep
completely
things in.
understand, and I just want to add some clarity, because I don't disagree with anything anybody said. But what I want to be clear that you understand is that resolution says we're going to use gov deals for online or we're going to use local. That's not the correct decision. The correct decision is, are you going to use an out-of-state company or a local company? Because there are local companies like mine who offer both online and live auctions. So what I was pointing out is it shouldn't be, hey, if you're hiring local, it's going to be a live auction. That's not true. You can hire me. I can do a better job at an online auction than Gov Deals can. They're not even in this state. So that is the clarity, is I don't believe the way the resolution was written. The resolution says you can go online and it has to be Gov Deals, or you can go local auctioneer and it's going to be live. I don't believe that's the choice. I think the choice is...
Gov.deals is not mentioned in this resolution.
Right, but when he explained it, he said, go online. I just want to be clear that myself, Joe Pyle Auctions, Kaufman Auctions, I could list a whole list of tax-paying West Virginia companies that are in good standing in the state of West Virginia that can offer online auction services and live auction services. And many times we recommend a combination. So there may be a field of cars and we may say put those online, we're going to do those online, and they're going to do those live. There's nothing that Gov Deals can offer this city that a local tax-paying West Virginia business can't offer. That's my point. And my concern with the way that was written was that if they chose online, that automatically meant go the way we've been going. You know, that was my only concern.
All right, thank you. And no, that is
Thanks
not.
for letting me clarify.
You're very welcome. You were getting ready to burst out of your seat.
I want you all to understand that the only thing I'm just doing is telling you, we have an account with Gov Deals. I don't care if we go with Gov Deals. There's Municipal, eBay, there's all kinds of these large out-of-state companies. There are also several local companies that do online bidding. What the law says is, if you're going to do online bidding, if the city is going to do online bidding and doesn't want to engage an auctioneer, then it has to do the listings and the photographing and all of that stuff itself, which is what we've been doing. If you're going to go with something that is a proposal more in line with what Mr. Fauci says, then we would have to go with the second option, which is essentially enter into an agreement with a third-party local provider, which again, I don't care. But the difference is they would be preparing the listings and so forth. So your options are with, and all this does is let us look at the items that we have, bring it to council, and council tell us. We've looked, and I have looked at the three of the more common ones. I looked at eBay, Municipal, and Gov Deals, and looked at their pricing structure, and those are all things that you should take into consideration. I'm not making a recommendation. That's up to council. All this is saying is we have the authority to just try to move forward on this, bring you the list of items, you tell us what you want us to do.
According to the previous resolution, the resolution that stands on record now, we just have one option.
Right.
That's it. Gov.deals, that's the option. This gives us the flexibility to make a decision based upon the items or the availability or the fluctuating, fees that may go from one auction site to the other. It does not lock us in to any specific, but just gives us the flexibility to determine what is in the best interest of the city. And I would believe everybody would agree that we want what's in the best interest financially to the city and also to our community. So that's all I got.
And I just a thought. I'm sure there's some things out there that local auctioneers might not even be interested in trying to auction because there would be almost no profit in it. And maybe that would be a situation where Ms. Roberts would have that kind of mindset. Okay, nobody's really going to be interested in selling this $25 street light, that doesn't work anymore. So she throws it up on Gov Deals and we get, $30 out of it or something like that, I just think, there's gonna be situations where, throwing something online is going to be more convenient, and I think I fully have full faith in Ms. Roberts' ability to make that decision. So I think she, we've had some good discussion here, and I think everybody's kind of got the mindset of what's best for the city. So
Absolutely. And Mr. Faust, thank you for your explanation on that.
Yeah,
I can completely
I
understand.
agree with everything you're
Yeah.
saying. I just want that to be clarity that Gov Deals, there are lots. Back then, they may have kind of been a corner on the block when this first happened.
I
Today-
believe they were.
Today, almost every auctioneer has an online site, and we would love to sell streetlights. Old streetlights are very valuable. Bring them on. I'll take them on.
All right, moving on with our agenda item before we get chased that rabbit.
Bag of concrete for you too.
That's it. All right, is there any other discussion on the resolution as read? Having a motion and a second, all those in favor of accepting the resolution as submitted signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
We'll get a list to council as soon as possible. And Mr. Fouts, if you could, I think you have my email, and if you don't, it's on the city website. Could you send me the groups that you're talking about that have the online website so I can look at their fee structures and incorporate that in? I don't want to miss out on a local business if they're a better deal than a national one.
I don't think they're going to be published, but I'll send you an email. It's going to depend on the project.
That would be great.
Just like a contractor.
All right, that wraps up our agenda items. Moving on with reports of standing boards and committees. Does any board or committee have, or we'll start with this side? What do you want to?
Me?
Yep.
Yeah. Just a couple things. First with the Vienna Rec. I'm excited to say the organization is working on both a pickleball league and a volleyball league. There is the Grand Central Church of Christ just built that really nice gym at the end of the road, and they're excited about potentially partnering up with us with the Vienna Rec to be a host, play host to those leagues. So they're still working out the finer details of things, but it's looking like it's on the horizon. So pretty excited. Wanted to let everybody know pickleball and volleyball hopefully coming soon, and also and I think this was mentioned on the Facebook page, but the Parks Board has an opening and is currently looking for someone to fill a seat. So if there's anybody out there that would be interested in serving the city in that capacity, there's an application process on the website, and also you can do it in person here at the city building. But we're looking for someone to come out and serve the community on the Parks Board.
And I've received 6 applications to date. Awesome. Anyone else? Tammy, do you have anything?
I don't.
Henry, you got anything else? Mr. Ditzler? All right, I don't have any reports. Moving on to just general council comments. Go ahead.
Next budget and finance meeting is on September 9th at 4 p.m. And then the next meeting, which is on the 28th for city council, I will not be present.
I want to give a shout out to our public works teams that are currently out in and around the city replacing water valves. I made a post just to try to add some clarity on, these are not simple, just reach down in the ground, twist it off and put a new one in. This is a very extensive project, and they're out there doing what the city needs to be done. So if you see the trucks in and around the community, they're working at night. So please be very cautious as you're traveling, because we do have men out there working on the streets at the wee hours of the night right now doing those things. Mr. Ditzler.
Was that you out by the backhoe last night over near the Alano's Pizza?
Yes, that was me in my flip-flops and shorts.
I just, here I am coming in late at night, and there he is out there with the backhoes and everything, helping out.
We're looking around. I don't know how much help I was other than moral support, but they did an excellent job explaining and showing everything that they were doing, and I was just checking up on our crews. Look. Anything else?
Yes. One more.
Okay.
The Wood County Prevention Coalition hosted our annual nature scavenger hunt August 1st, a couple weeks ago. We saw over 200 kids, school-age kids, come out, and just to get to enjoy, either a mile or 2 mile hike through McDonough Park. It was a great program. Each kid got a medal. We had door prizes. We saw, like I said, over 200 kids from Boys and Girls Club to local just people who saw the ad on Facebook. But just wanted to let everybody know it was a complete success, and really appreciate the support of the people who were able to come out and help and volunteer, and looking forward to it again next year. So it'll take place again next year. It's gonna happen again. I'm all done.
All right. Can I ask you guys to do me a favor? My daughter turned 12 today. I went to dinner with her at 5 o'clock. I gave her the option that we could do it this weekend. I cut dinner short because I love being here with you all so much. But if
You could have spent council with us.
But if you could, on a count of 3, just say, "Happy birthday, Hannah."
What's her name?
Hannah.
Hannah.
So, Mayor, do you want to count down?
Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna, we do declare this next 60 seconds in honor of Hannah for her birthday.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, Hannah.
I'll show her this in a little bit.
And this meeting stands adjourned.
That was an excuse for being late.
Yeah.